Okay, we're live. Good evening, everyone. I am Neha, Ambassador of Change for GETI, that is Global Education and Training Institute, founded and conceptualized by Dr. Sunita Gandhi with the vision of disrupting education as we know it. We also organize pre-service and in-service training for teachers so that they can, actually spearhead the disruptive education movement. Under the same banner, we also organize talks where we invite researchers, educators, policymakers from around the world and India so that they can contemplate with us and help us and guide us towards best practices in education. And today, I am very honored and thrilled to have with amongst us Ms. Kitendra Kaur Dua. She is the Director of Examinations for Mayo Girls College in Ajmer in Rajasthan. And my brief interaction with her has given me knowledge that she has been a teacher for almost 28 years, and she's very passionate about a topic which is also the topic for today for her, that is education, poverty, and development in general. So, the stage is yours, ma'am. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us today.
I
She's
would like,
chosen. Thank you. Yes, yes, please, ma'am.
well,
Please,
I,
please.
I would, a very good evening to all the viewers. I would like to thank you for providing me this platform to share my views on these key problem areas of the country, which is poverty and education and economic development, or you can call it economic growth.
Yes.
So, if you see, these three terms are interrelated, or I would like to say that these all the three terms are interdependent. You cannot achieve or you cannot eradicate poverty without spreading education. If education is there, level of education increases, literacy rate increases, it enhances the income earning capacity of poor people, which helps them in turn, you can say it helps them in increasing their demand. With increase in demand, naturally it would result into expansion of industrial sector, factories and all, which will generate employment. So
Absolutely.
increase in employment will further increase income level of people. And this
In
is how
general,
it's a circular flow which
often.
moves in upward direction. So that's why I said these three terms, they are interdependent. They are directly related. If you work hard to eradicate poverty, you have to increase the literacy level in the country, without which you cannot solve the problem. You cannot crack this problem of vicious circle of poverty, which we are suffering from so many years, more than 70 years of independence. We are still 22% of the population, they are below poverty line. So
Absolutely.
I think both, if we see increase in education, will decrease poverty, and it will definitely result in growth in economic growth in the country.
Absolutely,
For
ma'am.
okay, for understanding the problem of poverty, I would like to explain you the meaning of poverty so that you can understand the discussion better. Now, it is important to have a clear cut idea of the concept of poverty.
Okay.
Poverty is multidimensional. It involves not only lack of basic necessities of material well-being, but it also means the denial of opportunities to live a tolerable life, to lead a
Okay.
long, a healthy, a creative life, to enjoy a decent standard of living with, you can say, freedom, with dignity and self-respect. It's
Okay.
very, very important. And as we know that Indian planners, Indian politicians, they are continuously they are working on eradicating this problem of poverty, because we know that it's a challenge for all the economic planners and challengers. In fact, it's a stigma for a nation, because illiteracy, sickness, disability It
Yes.
render poor people helpless in all walks of life. Generation after generation, they live in poverty, they grow in poverty, and they die in poverty. And a country can grow but cannot develop without addressing this problem of uh, poverty, which we are struggling with.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
there is a difference between economic growth and economic development. I just use the term. So economic growth, it's you can say, in comparison to economic development, it's easy to achieve. Economic
Okay.
development, it deals with figures, numbers, or you can say monetary value. We are saying national income has doubled up. So that doesn't mean that economic development is also happening. Economic
Okay.
growth is happening because we say national income is increasing, standard of living is improving, per capita income is improving. But how it is happening, this growth is taking place, it's a very big question to solve
Yes.
the problem of poverty. Uh, and economic development. Economic development is a very wide, a very comprehensive term, and it deals with, of course, you require a long period um, to increase per capita income, national income, along with growth. If there's a fall in, you can say, poverty level, there is a fall in unemployment ratio, if there is a fall in income inequality rate, we call it economic development. So if you see present statistics of the country, you will find that economy is growing, though it's growing at a slow rate because of the pandemic or the problems we are
Yes.
suffering from last two
Yes.
years but it is growing, according to me, not developing, because if you see the percentage of all three, it is continuously increasing. There's a wide gap between the rich and the poor. Its poverty rate is also continuously increasing.
Keeping.
So
Okay.
I I think economic growth is easy to achieve. In a short span, you can achieve economic growth. But when it comes to economic development, it's a long term concept. You
Okay.
cannot achieve it in a short uh, span. You require around, say, more than 10, 15, 20 years. So we know that Independent India launched various programs, various development programs to eradicate poverty, but still we are struggling with poverty. And during this COVID period, the percentage of poverty has increased.
Okay.
So, uh, if we see, we have seen the datas also, or you can say, we must have read in newspaper the example of increase in income inequality because of
Yes.
economic growth, only economic growth, not it. You can say the richer class is becoming more richer, and poor
Yes.
are becoming more poorer. And according to data, according to a published UNO data, you can say those countries are considered relatively poor, where per capita income is less than $1.25 per day, or about $445 per annum. And according to this benchmark, India ranks very low in terms of equality of life, with per capita income of only $330 per annum. A per capita income, even of countries like Egypt, Sri Lanka, it's higher than our country. In USA, per capita income per annum is $41,890. And in Japan, it is $35,485. So you can see the big gap in comparison to India, where we have only $330 per annum. And
Yes.
according to this data, we can say that India is one of the poorest countries of the world. And you would be surprised, I was going through the data. India, on the basis of um, highest income inequality data, on the basis of highest income inequality data, we rank number second. Brazil is number one, India is number second, and then comes USA and Japan and all. So, which is so wrong, you know, which shows that in spite of so many years of development and in spite of um, huge funds diverted by the government in the education sector since 1951 when we started our first 5-year plan, if you see that huge amount of money from first 5-year plan to all the plans and now Niti Aayog and all, they are continuously spending money on education sector, on poverty eradication. Government has started various programs, Beti Bachao, or in the, you can say, Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Yojana, Trisome, Manrega. Manrega is one of the programs which started by the previous government and is doing well. And so this present government has also continued with this program. But the degree of poverty, the type of poverty we have in country, it's very very difficult to crack that vicious circle of poverty in which we are. It's actually very very difficult, and without uh, political will you cannot crack this problem of vicious circle of poverty.
I was coming to that. That was actually my question. That if there have been so many schemes and so many funds have been directed towards eradicating poverty and moving children towards education, then what is, or maybe why, we haven't been able to eradicate? Because if so many funds have been allocated over so many years, then there should have been, a stark decline in poverty, maybe. So I think the answer to it is political will. So I think you answered your own
Political
question.
ways, yes, it's a biggest problem, I should say, because all the political parties, they are working for vote bank. So the day they will increase education literacy rate in the economy, people will start questioning. So they will decide what is right, what is wrong, and they don't want that to happen. And various, economic planners, you can say, they use the term trickle down effect theory. In
Okay.
India, this trickle down effect theory, it has failed to give that positive effects of economic growth, because
Can
according
you
to this theory,
can you
planners,
explain? No, can you
yeah,
explain trickle down
yeah,
theory? I mean, I think it's
trickle
a
down
new
is
term.
the economic growth is happening, and we
Mhm.
assume that the automatic effect of economic growth, that is
Mhm.
increase in national income, GDP per capita, will percolate down to the bottom level automatically, we
Okay,
assume.
okay.
But it did not happen, because we assume that economic growth is happening, that means
Mhm.
people are getting employed. But if
Yes,
people
yes,
are if rate of unemployment is increasing, economic growth is happening because of more of capital intensive techniques, maybe because of inflation. Economic
yes,
growth is
yes.
happening. Statistics, yes, will show. Data will show that it's increasing, but um, it's very difficult. Now, people say that vicious circle. If you read economic books and all, you will
Mhm.
find that they'll say you can break this vicious circle of poverty with the help of capital formation, more industry, more employment, more
Yes.
income generation. So we can break. But my personal opinion, I feel that, of course, capital formation is important. Capital investment is important because that will create employment.
More job. Yes.
But it is very, very important to uh, spread education, to increase literacy rate in the economy is very 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 important. And if you see that the bulk of increased GDP, national income, has been pocketed by a few rich people.
Yes,
According to
absolutely.
World Development Report 2017, the richest 10% of Indian population, or in
Contribution.
you can say pocketed 30% of the total national income, and the poorest people, that is the lowest strata, you can say, uh, they got only 3.6% of total income of the country during period 2010 to 2017. We can see the example of Gautam Ambani recent.
Yes.
We all have read, owner of Adani Group, has surpassed Mukesh Ambani
One
and
as well.
has become India's or Asia's richest person. And Gautam Adani has added $55 billion dollars to his fortune as compared to Mukesh Ambani. $14.3 billion. So it clearly shows that statistically a country is growing, um, but it is resulting in, you can say, increasing the gap between the rich and the poor. The richer are becoming more and more rich. There are few industrialists, we can say favoritism of government or whatsoever. They are multiplying their wealth, and poor people, they are becoming more poor. So uh, you can say in 1920, the year just before the pandemic struck India, the share of urban work dropped to 31.6%. And
Okay.
fast forward to 2021, the employment further decreased to 31.2%. This
Okay.
rapidly decreasing rate of urban work, uh, it shows the job market weakness, which is alarming, and it is not a good sign for the country, because government has to should create, employment opportunities for the unemployed people, because it is also one of the reason for poverty in the country. So if you see the data, it's a leaked data of NSSO job survey data. Unemployment is at its highest,
All-time
45
highest.
year high, and it's 6.1%. And a report of Azim Premji University, 50 lakh people, they lost their job between 2016 to 18 due to policy shocks like demonetization, GST, slump in construction sector, which absorbs billions of, you can say, unskilled migrant from rural area. So, and there is an, you can say, there's a problem with India's growth story, because economists are unsure of the rate at which economy is expanding, which government claims.
I have a
Difficult
question, ma'am.
to, yeah,
I have a
please.
question. It's sort of going to break the monotony of where you're going, but I think, or maybe I relate that one reason why there's so much poverty is because our education system. I mean, I think the colleges are too expensive, and when we go to jobs to get jobs, maybe the salary is too low that we continuously keep paying over there. Or I don't know. Is there some relation between colleges, our education, and the job sector? I think they're not very aligned. I mean, the amount a child is spending on education, they don't get that much. The wages are not fair
The
to.
remuneration is not equal to that. It
It's
is
not equal. Inflation is one reason. Yes, I understand. But if let's talk engineers only. I think most of the population is engineers over here. So the engineers who spend so much money on their colleges, the starting salary for them is 10,000, and I don't think that's fair
so.
considering that
No, no,
you cannot run
it,
a household in
it
10,000.
depends upon which college you have done your engineering.
But then
So
again,
now the
that also
number of engineering colleges, it is continuously increasing. Private
increasing.
engineering colleges. Earlier, 23, 20, 25 years, if you go back, you will it was, it was difficult to
Get
get
into
admissions
engineering.
in engineering and all. But now you can easily get admission with even 40% or 55% or 60%. You are so easily getting. So we are just giving degree. Quality is not there, is lacking. And so when you are doing engineering from any XYZ college, any Hebai college, so naturally your salary will be affected accordingly.
That's a
And
good point.
I would like to give reason for this. Your school education also plays a very, very important role. And um, I'm giving a very bold statement. According to me, if you see, there, we have heard so many scams in the country.
Yes.
Harshad Mehta say, we have heard all coal scam and Chara and all. But if I say that educational scam is the biggest scam ever happened in the country. From 1950-51, if you see the amount of money government has um,
Spent on
given
education.
spend on educational infrastructure, medical infrastructure, buildings are there, employment of teacher is there, but without any
Totally.
accountability, the
Okay.
quality of the teacher, it's so poor, the infrastructure is so poor. And that's why the rise of private school education, it's a powerful reflection of universal failure of public schools. um, and
Good point.
you can say even the poorest poor, the maids who come to help you, all right, if you ask where your children, where your son or daughter is studying, she will say private school. Like I asked my maid, I said, फ्री में आपके अगर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं, आप मेरे को अपने बच्चे का फ्यूचर खराब नहीं करना है मैडम.
That's a
You
good
can see
point.
the
Yes.
plight of government schools. So if we see overall, uh, poverty or unemployment problem, or you can say the wage rate so low, so the quality of product we are producing is a very important factor and directly related with the salary which you mentioned, because people who passed out from IITs and IM and Ahmedabad, they roll in money from the very beginning, the day they pass out. Before that, they get very high packages. So
Absolutely.
somewhere it is related, the quality of education we are giving. So according to me, it's a biggest scam. Government is just spending money, but government doesn't want to improve the quality education, which is very, very important and which is the root cause of this poverty problem in the country. So if you give quality education, definitely income earning capacity will increase, and it will going to enhance the person's, you can say, skill, and he will earn better income, which will definitely going to improve his, you can say, income, and overall standard of living in the economy will go up. So according to me, like I would like, as I mentioned, poverty education directly related. Most of the
That's
books and talks, if you will hear in news channels and all, they will talk about various programs, what government should do. According to me, my personal opinion, that if we work on education, education will help us in removing all the problems. It can be population problem, it will increase your literacy level, it will contribute in increasing productive members, uh, labor force in the society,
yes, yes.
which will make them more accountable towards country, towards the community. So
Absolutely. Yes.
according to me, government should, the administration must ensure that all welfare policies should reach ground root, or you can say grassroot of the economy. It should reach to the bottom line. Only then we can think of removing this problem of poverty. So, according to me, of course, capital formation is the solution, which everyone says. But according to me, more important is through that capital formation, through that capital, through that investment, if we try to give better education, quality education, it will
Absolutely.
definitely going to change the future of the country. It will definitely going to change future. So, to me,
Yes,
this is
one
the
second.
most important.
There's a question in the comment box. I think most of the parts of it you have answered, which says, how does education contribute to economic development? How do intellectual property help economic development? I think that's a point you can take. What are the benefits of economic development in education system, and what is education related to economic growth development? I think you've taken up most of the points, and intellectual property help in economic development is something I think you can take if you want.
All right. Basically, I would. This is that's why I said it's my personal view. I feel directly poverty and education both are directly related, and if we want to solve this problem through education, improving education system, we can solve this problem. So it will, because it will increase, you can say, education of good quality definitely will going to make the difference. Higher investment in education, right? The question, all right, in education, you can say, make citizens well informed. and keeping elections, upcoming elections in mind, where very soon we're going to have elections. So if you have a population, educated, literate population, they will think, they will think before casting their vote,
There, yes,
So well-informed citizen translate informed, they become informed voters. So you are replacing ignorant voters from well-informed, you can say, citizens. And informed citizens make informed choices
decisions,
and
absolutely.
demand measures like quality health. They talk about quality environment. They will decide their vote according to the political parties, whether they are supporting the criminals or they are with the poorest poors, farmers and all. So it helps them to decide. And well-informed voters does not fall prey to prejudice and caste and religion-based propaganda. So it promote your entire democratic structure. It promote improves your political and social institutions, which directly, indirectly will affect um, development and growth. As I told you, growth, it is basically, we are referring to statistics, we are referring to figures. But when we say growth, there are three important, you can say, area which growth includes, and that is poverty, education, you can say, and unemployment, sorry, income inequality, unemployment and poverty. And all
Absolutely.
three can be addressed with the help of education.
Yes.
That's why I strongly am strongly in favor of this. So if we
On the
all,
same lines, we have a question which I think you have taken up already throughout the talk, which says, "Do you think policy of government also is responsible for overall economic development of the people?" I think this is what we have been talking about for the past few minutes. That policy of a government and its willingness to work towards
policy
education.
is there. Government, I'm saying from 1951, first 5-year plan, government has started so many policies for self-employment and training and projects like Manrega and all. But without education, you cannot come up above that level of poverty. You will remain poor. And why I say political will is very, very important, because political parties, they constantly engage themselves in creating vote banks on the
Absolutely.
basis of caste, creed, on the basis of religion. And this is reflected in the manner in which candidates are chosen to contest elections from various constituencies. And in this way, political leaders, they try to win the favor of a majority group. So
Absolutely.
political will, they don't want their voter to be, educated, because then they
On
can
this,
misguide. They can,
on the same,
they are
yes, ma'am.
actually, they are creating their vote bank. And it applies to all political parties. It's nothing that the ruling government, even the previous, all governments, they are sailing in same boat. They're just focusing how to get more and more votes. Once the election is done, then they believe in filling up their pockets and all. And it's very right that if you spend 1 rupee on any program for, say, poverty eradication, actually 5 paisa actually reaches the bottom line. It's all
Absolutely.
distributed among a big chain. So that's why we are still struggling with the problem. So the corruption level, we all know, is there. Again, your education level, improvement in education, improvement in
I have
literacy rate.
I have a question over there,
Yes.
ma'am. Since the problem of the will of political leaders is something that we cannot solve immediately, do you think, on the contrary, a little doable solution could be privatizing education, maybe something on the lines of budget private schools, you know, giving schools accountability and not loading them with so many rules and everything, so that they can something on those
Accountability
lines.
definitely will work. If you are giving income, if you're giving salary to a teacher, so he or she should be accountable to what he is doing or she is doing. If we see the level of education in government schools, it's so bad. So
Absolutely.
people, there are for private schools, where you have to spend huge lot of money. You won't believe, I asked my mom, like I told my bai, she is ready to send. She said, I'll work दो more और घर पे मैं बात काम कर सकती हूँ, but I won't send my children to government school, which is so wrong. So basically, it's election vote bank, and again we can create awareness among people with improvement in education system. And the day we will achieve literacy rate will go up, you will find the entire uh, structure of the country will change. We can make a country number one country of the world, but it's just by spreading education. And as a responsible citizens of the country, I think uh, it becomes our duty to contribute in whatever little way to educate people around you. And we say charity starts from home. So if we say that, if you help your maid's children, suppose your maid is coming, so if you pay financially, you can help, and you yourself can teach, can
Absolutely.
you can say monitor the progress of the child. Of course, financially it's very easy, we all are earning good income, so it's not a big issue that if we purchase beginning of the session, if we purchase books and bags and dresses. But we should, more important thing is spending money on them, plus monitoring the progress, helping, mentoring. You can become a mentor, can continuously counsel the child, tell the advantage of education, show a very bright life if they get degrees, or if they pass, secondary classes, senior secondary, if they go to college, they will earn better. And then they in turn will motivate all the members of the family, and this is how this chain can, you know bring
Great.
changes in the economy, which is very very important. So we always say boon boon se sagar bharta hai. So this is small little effort that if we all who are watching, you can say, this program, if you all decide to adopt one child, adopt doesn't mean proper, just saying educational adoptment. So you are just taking care, you decide to take care of one child, more than one child, and spending financially, of course, this is a way you can buy whatever requirement for the school. But monitoring that, helping, teaching that child is very very important. And if we all do that, all you can say educated member of the society, so if we all do that, it will going to definitely bring change in the economy. It's very difficult to criticize sitting at home. We can criticize, we can bring, we discuss so many loopholes and policies and corruption and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if we start asking from ourselves that what is your contribution, what did you do today for the betterment of the society? You are getting
Absolutely.
from the society enough, so you are having a comfortable life. But what we are giving, we, because we are human beings, practical human beings, so we think of ourselves, we think of our family, we think future of our children and their children. We are just uh, adding on to money to secure future of our grandchildren also. And during this pandemic, I think at least I have learned, and many of has learned this, we all have learned, what is your basic requirement. Basic
Absolutely.
requirement is you, clothes, all right, and food, and a shelter. You won't believe, last 1.5 year, most of us, I should say, we didn't spend money on, dresses and cosmetics and all. This is what reality is. Life is so uncertain. So I think it becomes a moral duty to contribute towards the society, and we can do that definitely by spending money, by helping poor. So in one of our teachings, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is teaching, if you see, he says that you should earn, work hard, kirt karo, means you should work hard to earn your living. Then wand chako is that you should share your income with others. This is a very very important saying, all right. So 10% of your income, if you spend on welfare of poor people, At the end of the day, you can try it out. If you go out and suppose you help, you buy a new dress and give to the any poor person, the happiness which you see on the face of that person, that gives you satisfaction and peace which you cannot earn, you cannot get that with doubling up
Absolutely.
your income. So presently, if you see the system, we are running behind money. We all are running behind money. We are not doing which we should. We all should. So this is what I have learned in the pandemic, and that's why I thought when you asked me, I agreed, because I wanted to request people. We are educated class, members of civil society, responsible members. So what we are contributing, we are just simply criticizing. So we should, uh, like I told, take care at least minimum one child education, guiding and all. Then second important thing, all right, which I would like to, is that we should, because election is there in the air, all right. So I think we should vote. We should use a right of voting, which is very very important. Because again, I would like to give an example. 3 years 3 4 years ago, I asked my bai, when she came maid, I said, आपके हाथ में ब्लैक ही मार्क लगा हुआ है, आपने वोट दिया? तो she said yes. I said, अच्छा किसको दिया, and why did you give, and whom? She said, हमको बोला, हमारे बस्ती में जो नेता है उसने बस लेके आया, कार लेके आया, we were told to sit. Then he took us to a place where we got food, lunch was served, wonderful lunch was there. After that we had tea, then they took us to the election booth and we were told that you have to press the button, and they told the symbol, whatever, whichever party. We did that.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm saying. It's so wrong. We should teach poor people that their vote is very precious. It's not, the value of your vote is not just one time khana and 15 minutes drive and car. And this is what
Absolutely.
political structure, you can say, is. So I would like to request that some of us, we don't vote or on the election day, and then we criticize, we complain about the government policies. Voting turnout in many countries is around 50 to 60%, which is very low. And it means uh, that election result would be different if turnout is to be 80 to 90%. So I
100%
just
higher.
to end my talk, I would like to request from all of you that people have power in the form of vote, and they should use it. It's your right, so vote and let your voice be heard.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's actually very overwhelming when you said that each of one of us should, teach one child, because what your thoughts, concluding thoughts, are in so in alignment with the thoughts of our director, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. She runs an initiative called Global Dream, where she has encouraged students who are studying in schools to, the tagline is each one teach one. So all of us get a
Very
curriculum, a
good.
small curriculum, where we could maybe our vegetable vendor's child, or maybe our
Yeah,
gardener's child.
very
We
true.
sit with them every week. We teach them the basics of ABCD, Kakha Gagha, numbering, how to write their name, how to write their father's name, their mother's name. Basic literacy can be achieved according to her blueprint and her operation in just, we've been working on it. So, but basic literacy, the idea of basic literacy, we have been advocating and spreading also. And this has been actually very well taken up in Lucknow as well, and I think in other parts of the country as well. But this is very heartwarming that you also carry the same thoughts. That's
Actually, that
very
that gives you satisfaction and peace, which you don't get by you spending any amount of money. You go
absolutely.
whatever you shop, but when you help a poor person, the smile which you see on the face, that is what is really, that really at least I feel, very good, very satisfied when I do that.
And I think it's also very good for the child as well, because it gives them a sense of motivation that if I can write my name, if I can write a count, then maybe I can do something else. So it sort of acts as a motivation as well, and that I think is also a very big problem in poor children. They don't want to learn, but if someone sits with them and gives them, tells them that this is easy, so it gives them an easy way out. They're children, so I think it's good for them to they will actually want to pursue schemes in which the government will try to enroll them actually. So I think that's how we, as away from the malaise of politics, can do something towards economic development, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
that's a very beautiful conclusion that you've given to this entire. I was actually or thinking that this is such a broad topic, it's so technical. How will I be able to simplify it and make it acceptable? Because we have so many comments. Can you see the comment section, ma'am? We have actually a lot of comments coming right here that the concept is good. Okay, just one second.
All right.
Yes. No, it's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay. It's just a couple of praises, people actually praising, because this was a very dense topic, which we have boiled down to a very simple solution, that is, each one teach one, take our responsibilities, be good citizens, be good ancestors at the end of the day. And, you also drew inspiration from your wonderful religion, which I think was very beautiful, that you should earn, but you should also share. That's also a very fundamental I think idea to impart economic development. I'm so sorry if I am fumbling, because economics has always been a scary subject for me for some reason. But this has been such a wonderful session with you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any parting words? But I think you've concluded it better than me today. But if you would like to say anything else before we
I
wrap up.
really enjoyed sharing my views. It is for the first time, as I told you in the beginning, all right. The only two requests as a concluding part. Again, spend money on educating your near and dear ones who make your life comfortable. You cannot survive without team of workers, so it becomes a moral responsibility also to take care of their families. So, and the best way again is education. And second important thing, vote. Please vote,
Absolutely.
and vote to the right person. Educate again your near and dear one, all right, the people who come for your help, like you said, gardener or vegetable seller and all. Please guide them, tell them that they should decide the right candidate, not on the basis of small whatever little favors they get. It should be
Absolutely.
what actually that person is working for the society or for that area and all. So that's it.
Thank you so much.
These are the
That's a
points
wonderful
which I hope
conclusion.
people will listen.
That's a wonderful conclusion, ma'am. I think people who are watching and who will eventually watch will like that we as individuals, tiny individuals, can do so much. Can do two little acts of us, just to vote properly and to help our near ones, and then maybe in the grander scale of events contribute towards education, the education and
Definitely, the
economic.
picture of India will change in future if we all do that. We can make a
Absolutely.
chain, and if it moves in upward direction, definitely the country and the problems will able to tackle all the problems.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. And I really hope to see you around, because your thoughts are so in alignment with what we are doing here at Getty in Global Dream, Global Classroom. We would love to have you around and guide us in this.
Definitely,
Venture. Thank you so much for joining us
definitely,
today, ma'am.
I'll do that. Thank you to you too.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.